Hello, this is your virtual coach, Michael Lewis. Let's talk about failures and setbacks and disappointments and what to do about them, if anything. First of all, if you have something worth going after that's of any value or any worth to you, there are going to be things in your path. There are going to be stops. There are going to be people who go, no, no, no. There's going to be some roadblocks because otherwise it's not so much fun going after these things. Guy you're interested in, a girl you're interested in, a project that you're working on that's going to, do wonderful things for all of mankind and make you a lot of money at the same time. So if you've got stuff in your way, if you've got stuff in your road that's blocking you, then pat yourself on the back and say, all right, I'm doing okay. This must be worthwhile because the whole world is going, don't do that, and so forth. So it all comes under the point of having a purpose, going after a purpose, which, by the way, is a good way to define what life and living is. Having and following a goal, a purpose. And to the degree to which you're not having or following a goal or a purpose, like you had one and then it just kind of went off the rails and oh well, or you don't have one at all, you don't really know what to do in your life or something like that, then to that degree, you're not living. And you're going to feel tired. You're going to not, like when you wake up in the morning, you're not going to go, hello, sky, hello, ceiling, hello, sun shining up there. Today is my day. Today is a great day. You're not going to do that. You're just going to go, go back under the covers and so forth. So, as a matter of fact, it's a very good way to determine if you've got something that you tried to do or tried to pull off that didn't happen. If that thing has triggered, you're going to feel tired for no reason. You're just going to kind of feel kind of blah or whatever. Like probably if I did something nasty right now and said, remember that project that you were working on some years ago and it didn't really pan out? Remember that one? I want you to really think about that. You would probably find yourself, feeling a little bit tired, a little bit sluggish, a little bit blah, and so on. So I'm not going to have you do that. There's another thing that happens. If you get enough of these failures, you get enough of these setbacks and things, is you start feeling serious. You get more and more serious on that subject. It's hard to kid you about it. It's hard to make jokes about it. If you know somebody who's like really serious about some particular thing or some particular subject, then you could probably reasonably and logically guess that that person has had some setbacks in that area, some unpleasant defeats and disappointments in that area. The cool thing about going after something is that it opens up your time, it opens up your future. It opens the door into a future as opposed to just having you in the same room in the present, and it's lovely to have an open door with a whole roadway going into a lovely future. So what happens is when you have a setback, when you have a failure, it kind of sticks you back into the present and all of the stresses of the present, all that goulash and so on. If you get enough setbacks, then you'll get really kicked back to the present, back into the past. And you'll find yourself thinking and dwelling on the past, which is not really all that healthy because the past is over and it's gone and there's nothing you can do about the past. You do everything about the future. So here's the way it usually goes. You get this cool idea, or someone gives you this cool idea, or you you get involved with something really cool, like this really cool, neat, yes thing. And it seems so simple, you know, that multi-level marketing thingy, or, you know, it looks like the girl really likes you, or this neat employment opportunity, or this neat thing that you want to put together artistically with a couple other people who are friends of yours. That like, really, yes, do. And then something comes up that's hard to deal with. Something comes up. Like with me, it always turns out that there's another person involved who's in Venezuela, you know, or in Peru or someplace. And you have to, in order to get the final okay, you have to get that partner's okay, and they're out of the country right now, but they'll be back. They'll be back. And then, you know, they don't come back, or they turn out to be kind of lame, you know, kind of not really cool or whatever. That's what would happen with me. I don't know what happens with you, but it's usually something or someone that complexifies things. Like you now have to get a license for this, or you've offended somebody, or there's an unexpected expense, something that's just sort of hard to deal with, hard to look at. And then what happens next is things start getting complicated. They start getting involved. They start getting, you know, I don't know if I want to do this. And then it just kind of goes bleh. And of course, the epilogue is you say, well, I couldn't pull it off. I couldn't pull it off. So the net result is, first, the failure happens. Then you make yourself weak by saying, I couldn't do it. And that explains why you failed. But that's not really the way it happens. What happens is, first came the setback, and then you said, I couldn't do it. So if you think of that cool project that I didn't want you to think of earlier, that thing that didn't quite pan out, you know, some years ago, yeah, that one. If you look it over, maybe you'll see that after the initial enthusiasm, just stuff came up, you know, maybe it was unpredicted stuff or whatever. It was just stuff came up. And, you know, legal permits, somebody said no that you thought would say yes. And, you know, you are going to have these things come up. They are going to come up. Otherwise, like I said, it's too easy and it's no fun. So most of these things actually come in the form of people. You know people, you know some people who may be very nice, but they themselves have had so many setbacks and so many stops that they themselves have become a big stop on their own. You know, nice smiling face, and they'll say, oh, I really, really, really wish you so much luck. You know, that's really hard to do, what you're going after, you know, that's really good. Or, are you sure you want to do that? I mean, have you really looked at all the facets and all the factors involved in this? You are going to have to get, you know, permits and ravioli and whatnot on this sort of thing. Or just simply, okay. Thanks for sharing that with me. I will pray for you. Thank you. So all these like little, you know, dig at you and so forth. You know, the trick is, are these people going to stop you or not? You know, people get distracted easily. They get distracted by things that don't really relate to your straight shot. You know, your straight shot leading toward achieving your purpose. People get distracted by problems that come up that have to be dealt with. People get distracted by things that shouldn't be done. Don't do that, you know, and you get lots of free advice, which is exactly worth what you paid for it. So these things get stressed too much. The stuff that shouldn't be done, the problems, and just simple distractions, like Netflix. So, here's an example. I want to be a rock star. But I can't take guitar lessons right now because I have to pay the bills. I've got all these bills. So that ends it right there, or at least delays it. So these are called can'ts and got tos, or gots to. No, got tos. I can't do this because I've got to do that. And people like this, and you've run into this sort of thing yourself. The trick is to take the thing that's stopping you. You take the stop and you incorporate it into your steps toward the goal. In other words, you make your stop into a step. Okay, so you've got bills. All right. So you make that an action target and you incorporate it as part of your triumphant march toward your purpose. Step 1, pay the bills. Step 2, as the bills are getting paid, not after, but as they're getting paid, start up with the guitar lessons and move on from there. This way you can get excited about paying the bills because you know that this is part of your path toward success. This is part of your path toward hitting that target, reaching that goal. Just stay focused on that purpose. And what will happen is the stops just sort of melt away as stops. They might still be there, but they won't be like this anymore in front of you. They won't be like this. They'll be like, kind of opening the door and just sort of contributing to the book that you're going to write about how you achieved this great success. See? Now, if you can think of something in your past that you actually pulled off, some project, some purpose or whatever in your past that you actually pulled off, I guarantee you that's going to feel good. Just thinking about it is going to feel good and probably give you a bit of energy too. So there's no law against doing that. There's no law against, going, yeah, I can do that. I can still do something like that. Yeah. Now, the whole thing boils down to this. And that is, between you and me, you are amazing. I don't even know you, but I know that you're amazing. And it's not really any of my business. It's more like your business to discover how amazing and extraordinary you truly are. And if you can't believe it yourself, there's several ways to measure how amazing you are. And one is by looking at the things that you've been up against and the people that you've been up against and so forth. You see, things and people that are trying to stop you, if they think there is harm in you succeeding, if they are thinking there is something dangerous about you, something that must be stopped, then you must be greater than them. So if you take a look at the strength and power of that which you've come up against, realize that you are greater than it because somehow you pose some sort of a threat to that thing, which means you're bigger than it is. Now, another point that I want to really put in here is that at the outset, it's not going to be smooth sailing unless you're really, really lucky. Let's take an airplane. You get into the airplane and that airplane uses up something like 67 to 70% of its motive force and energy just to get free enough of gravity to get up into cruising altitude. And you'll feel it, the captain has requested that you fasten your seatbelts and so forth. We are taking off now. Seatbelts and lift up your tray tables and all like that. And you feel the effort of that plane as it's working to climb and escape the bounds of gravity and then We've reached cruising altitude, ladies and gentlemen. Now you may feel free to walk about the cabin and be happy now. And it's just, that's the way it is in life. That's the way when you're pursuing something that you really want. You're going to be using a good bit of effort. A good bit of effort, because there's going to be things trying to stop you as you get up to cruising altitude. See? So just think about that. Remember that when you run into some hitches or, you know, unexpected pitfalls or stuff you have to sign or things that you need to do or whatever, you know, just realize that that's all part of what you signed up for. You know, I didn't, you know, I didn't invent that, so don't blame me. But, you know, it starts off with some effort, then the effort comes off. You just have to get through that effort, that little band of effort there. So we're nearly done with this particular little moment that we're sharing together. And what I want you to do once we are done is I'd like you to maybe dust off that project that you were working on. Or if you're working on a project right now, don't dust it off. Just take it up out of your, you know, if you've got it filed under P for project or W for world peace or whatever. And think of one or two things that you can do right now, no matter how trivial, that will further that purpose and get you closer to your goal, and do them. You know, it shouldn't be too much. Just, you know, make the phone call or look the thing up on the internet or whatever. And, you know, remember, if you've got anything that you're going after that's of any value whatsoever, you won't get it without some obstacles, some things getting in the way, and with a good bit of hard work. So if you have any of those going on, keep going. You're doing great. You're doing great. You're doing exactly what the game plan is. So that is all I have to say for now. So if you like this webinar, please be persuaded to like and subscribe. Meanwhile, love each other, take your vitamins, observe posted speed limits, play nice, and never lose sight of who you are. Never, never, never lose sight of who you are. So long for now.